let me start by taking my watch off so I don't lose track of the time, because I don't, there's a clock, but my old eyes can't see it. Let me start by giving you the constitutional provision that we're dealing with here tonight. Article 5 of the Constitution deals with amendments, and there are two different procedures listed in the Constitution's Article 5 to make amendments. Only the first has ever been used. It starts out, the Congress, whenever 2/3 of both houses shall deem it necessary, shall propose amendments to this Constitution. Okay? So, in the, 240 or something, 230 years that we've been under the Constitution, that's the only procedure that has been used to amend the Constitution. An amendment passes the House and the Senate, each by a 2/3 majority, and then goes on to ratification, which I'll mention in a minute. There are 27 amendments. 11 of them were part of the original Bill of Rights. There was another little flurry after the Civil War. There were a few at the beginning of the 20th century in the so-called Progressive Era. Not very many amendments for a document that's been around as long as our Constitution. But there is a second procedure listed in Article 5. It says, or on the application of the legislatures of 2/3 of the several states shall call a convention for proposing amendments. So 2/3 of the state legislatures must pass a measure calling on Congress to set up a convention, a constitutional convention, a convention of states. The Constitution itself just says a convention. If 2/3 of the states, which is 34, submit that call, Congress must call a convention to gather and consider amendments to the Constitution. This has never been done. And our question for tonight is, should it be done? Are we in a place in our nation's constitutional history where the only way to get this thing straightened out and working right is to convene a group of people? Who are those people? Political folks? Crazy law professors like me? Who knows? Who knows who that group will be? Maybe our panelists want to discuss that issue. I don't know. But convene this group of people who would then propose one or more amendments to the Constitution. Now, in either event, whether amendments come out of the House and the Senate or come out of a convention, they then have to be ratified by 3/4 of the states. That's 38 out of 50. And Congress can do it one of two ways, either by state legislatures, which is, again, the only way it's been done up till now, or by special state ratifying conventions. If Congress says, yeah, these amendments, we don't want them to go to the state legislatures, we want each state to call a special ratifying convention, Congress can specify that. And so our question on the floor for this evening is, should we have such a convention? Is it time to convene a convention of the states to consider amendments to the Constitution? Those in favor of the idea of a convention, at the far end of the table, Mr. David Dietrich with the Convention of States Project, and Mr. Gary Porter of the Constitution Leadership Institute. Those opposing this idea, sitting closer to me, Mr. John Bloom of the Patriots of the Constitution Party, and Mr. Jeff Lewis of the Patriot Coalition. If they want to give more of their background, they can work that in as they're speaking in their opening statements. But I don't think you want to listen to me do any more introductions. Let's move into the substance.